Well, happy Saturday morning. I'm an early person. So thought I'd do a quick review of 49 Quick Decks Hockey that just came out. Um, so I played a game yesterday, um, and here are my thoughts on the game. I'll show little pieces of the game as well as I go through it and talk about it. Talk about the good, maybe some of the, I don't want to even call it frustrations, but some of the challenges I faced, and I feel like I'll work through them. But what are the challenges early on that I'm seeing with the game, and just my overall take on it. So let me jump right in. First of all, just overall, I thought 49 Quick Decks Hockey was really good. It followed up on 49 Quick Decks Football, which I'm a huge fan of. Grant Fines, who's the developer of this, he has really put together something that's clicking for me. I talk about that in my other videos about clicking, and this game clicks for me. I felt like I was at a hockey rink the whole time I was playing this game. I felt like I was there at the game. It's got so many little pieces to it, and that just makes it feel like a game that's going on. Everything from the puck moving from the neutral zone to the attack zones on both sides, um, and then the strategies that are in place, and that is available to be played solitaire, which is always, like, for football and hockey, the two games that Grant tackled are really hard to play solitaire without some sort of system in place to call the defense, and so that you're being fair, if you will. And he's done it again with these charts that basically, take a look at the team and say what style is the team. Like yesterday, for instance, I played Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh looks like these. If you can see that, it looks like it's turned around. I don't know why my camera's turned around. I got to fix that. Anyway, just the team little card that you get with each team, not only gives the wins, losses, ties, and points, the goals for, goals against, good, nice statistics to have while you're playing the game. They have the ratings for a solitaire chart. And so for defense, Pittsburgh plays pass out. Ottawa, they play a clear defense. So those are your two choices on the defensive zone options. And then their forwards for Pittsburgh, they play dump and chase, DNC. And then for Ottawa, they're balanced. And so that gives you that gives you this. You pull out the defense and forwards chart for solitaire, and then there's also two sides to it. And the first side is options on the first and second period, and then the other side is the third period, which we all know is always so much more intense. Ask my Preds last night. Yeah, that happened. We're out. So then you roll a D12, and it's also got some other notes in it about if you're behind by 2, if you're ahead by 2, because they have segments in the game, and I'll get to that in a second. And you just roll a D12, and then it tells you the defensive men, you may be playing pass out and active during that segment. They may be clear and active, so on and so forth. So you're not having to. You don't have to use these, but for me, a person who does replays and likes to just play the game out and not really have too much involvement in the strategy, this is awesome because it allows me to just roll and then say, okay, Pittsburgh's playing, a dump and chase this time. Also, other things that I really liked, or other options that are in this game, is they have 3 areas called F for forward, FD, and D. And you roll a 20-sided dice against that, and it eventually ends up telling you at times off the fast action cards, which I believe he calls them game action decks. and the other part is called, we've got it right here, ice action cards. Sometimes it refers to it so you can see who's shooting, particularly. So that's pretty neat. And then you've got the goalie cards. All this is coming off of, let me move all my little pieces here off of this because it's still here from yesterday. All this is coming off this game board, which it is small, which I like because, on my desktop, space is at a premium. But you've got this, and so all those things are up in there. All those options that I was just talking about that you roll for prior to the start of the game, who might be taking the shot if it comes down to that. And then here, just moving the puck around in the zone, who has it in what zone, what period you're in. And then the goalie cards go here. And that's something I'll get into in a second. The only cards you get with the game right now, although he's coming out with cards for each player, right now you just get the goalie cards. So it was interesting to play this first game yesterday because on those goalie cards, you also roll before the game to see whether or not the goalie is shaky or good or solid. And I rolled yesterday, and I got Fleury for Pittsburgh was shaky, and he was, despite them winning the game. It was 7-6 was the final, and then Guerrero was actually good. He rolled good, so it makes a difference on them stopping the puck, obviously. So that's kind of that part of it. The charts, one of the things about games, I'm not a big chart guy. I don't like going to charts as much. I like to have it, all out on these action cards, game action cards, and ice action cards are actually there for the timing, but it also has steps of things that go on. Generally, shooting. These are your shooting cards, not always. Both of them can be shooting, but I have mine posted around my desktop. The different charts that are out there. There's a short man, there's a rebound and a power play. There's odd man rush on this one, which I think I had an odd man rush about 3 or 4 times in that game. And it's so quick and easy. You roll a D12 against this chart, and boom, you basically have what's going to happen. And I was like, wow, it's really fast. It isn't going through like 12 steps to find out what happens in the odd man rush. It just, bam, it happens. Same thing with the penalties. I know there are some games out there. There's 2 different penalties on this one. There's your normal chart and then your more penalties. So if it happens to more than one player, or if they call more than one penalty, that's there. And as always, Grant has, which I love this about his football too, he's got little key things. How to resolve fights, if you're playing aggressive or safe. He's just got these little things that you can have out all around your desktop to help you go through, especially in the beginning, go through some maybe little things that are a little tougher to get through. Then, of course, he always has his odd plays, which I had a couple of these. I not only had an odd play during the game, but I had an odd penalty, which was pretty interesting. So all of this again, game time. I didn't really time myself yesterday because I was still going through, and I knew that time it took 2 hours to play the first game. No way do I think it's ever going to take 2 hours moving forward. I'm sure I can get this game down to 45 minutes. But I was going back and forth, just making sure, validating I was doing everything right. Not to mention it was a high scoring game, 7-6. So, and I was also trying to work with my software that I'm using for this. So there was a little bit of work through trying to get into a pace. There's also little things in here. Like I said before, segments. You take these ice hockey cards, ice action deck cards, and you split them into 7, 6, 7, and that equals the segments. I think he calls them in the rules like TV timeouts. And so that it just, again, it felt like I was watching a game on TV. It was really, maybe it was that was doing that for me, but it felt really good. I could feel the players coming in and out of the ice. Shift changes, shift change. Instead of thinking about constantly shift changing, and I know there's software out there like that that is used by others for hockey that gives you the shift changes. But in Grant's game, there are spots where it tells you shift change. So I used that, and I felt like they moved. I was moving players through the ice, and shifts. I didn't feel like one set was on the ice longer than others. It flowed through nicely, which I liked. The penalties, I had a few power plays, and they were real easy to use. And that's as simple as using their one-man advantage. They also have a two-man advantage and then a 3-on-3 if you ever get that overtime. And you just pull 4 cards for a 2-minute penalty. You pull 2 ice action cards so that your timing is going through there. And it flowed once again, really easy, real fast for me. I was shocked how well that went, especially in the first time playing it. So the charts. Okay, this is where, for me as a replayer, this also extended my game because I had to stop and make some changes to how I was doing this. First of all, for the game itself, for each team, there's 2 charts. There is one that's normal play, basically, normal team on the ice, and then there is a special teams card. So obviously for power plays, there is a power play top to it, and then there is a short man bottom to it. And so for me, I know Grant had these, like back to back like this, but for me, I just because again, my limited desktop space that I have over here in the corner, I just put them together, and then when I was on a power play, I just flipped them. But all your ratings are in here, which is really neat. And so you take shots from the in, you take shots from the slot, from the out. Players are rated for their shoot, who shoots more, their assist, can they create, their puck move, the forechecks. Every single one of these came into my game yesterday. Their takeaway, hit, block, and penalty. And then there's an offensive rate and a defensive rate, and every single one of those came into my game yesterday. And which that's again made it feel like it was a game. And it was of course nice to have Sidney Crosby on the ice. I'm not a Pittsburgh guy. In fact, I don't hate Pittsburgh yet, but being a Cleveland guy, I will get to hate Pittsburgh, I'm sure. But I wasn't a hockey guy at that time when I lived in Cleveland. And Cleveland doesn't have a hockey team anymore, so haven't for a long time. Anyway, I digress. And they also have, it took me a minute because it's not in the rules, by the way. The face-off rating is here next to the player. That took me a minute to figure that out because it wasn't in the rules. But so everything was on the chart. Now, here's the problem. As a replay guy, I do as played lineups, and what Grant's put together, I believe, is basically the end of season lineups. So that threw me for a loop. I wasn't ready for that. I went to go look to find out where, like Chris Knutson, hopefully I'm saying that name right. Again, I'm learning my hockey. He wasn't on the team in the beginning of the year, so I had to make some quick changes in how I did this, and it was a very I'm hoping it's a short term. Once the cards come out, they're supposed to be out in the middle of this month in May, and then I won't have this issue anymore. But for now, I had to pull out the team charts for the players that I utilized. I used Hockey Reference, and so I went in and just looked at their starting lineups, and then I know. I then click on Hockey Reference to find out what team they started the season on. I entered that into my website. That's in my starting lineup there. So then I have to go grab their team charts with their individual ratings. So of course I had a lot of charts out, depending on the team. Ottawa didn't really have many, but Pittsburgh did. And so when I got to the left wing on the first team, I had I had to grab a different chart. So, I mean, that was obviously a little bit of a pain for me, but that's how I do replays. But again, I think that'll all end when I have the cards instead of the charts. Although I really love these charts. I got addicted to them in the football game. But for hockey, I guess I'm going to have to go with the cards just because I like to do my replays with who played the ice as played. So I'll have to work through that one, but I will. And as Dave stops by here, good morning. Really enjoying the hockey as well. Such a smooth flow to the game. Dave, didn't it feel like you were either at a game or watching a game? It did for me. I was really into it, and I've only done one game. I really like it. Again, the only negative I've got so far is the players are. It's like a Stratomatic delivery of who is at the end of the season. I like as played, but is what it is. So that's my thoughts on hockey. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting anything. I don't think I am. I'm excited to roll some more games this morning with this. I hope if you're thinking about buying another hockey game to put in your list, you take a look at Grant's, because this is up there. I've been playing Appa Hockey a lot. I've been playing Hockey Bones a lot, which I really like. I think this is right up there with it. So good luck to you in what game you pick. Again, make sure it connects for you. That's the biggest thing. You'll have fun every morning.